Hello!
Hello. I'm Lauren.
So much. I'm John.
I'm Lauren.
And I'm still John. Didn't stop in the past 2
Can't stop, won't stop being John.
It's my life. It's the life I live. So welcome to... sorry, I didn't mean to step on you. Welcome to While You're Watching, the podcast where we talk about, movies.
Yeah, movies that you didn't watch.
Oh, yeah. Right. Because you were watching...
You're watching other things.
Another thing. Like, for the past million weeks, it was like... what was it? Was that movie?
Avengers Endgame, right?
Ngame, I think it was.
Is that how you say Endgame?
Ngame.
The Avengers?
Avengers.
Okay.
Ngame.
I wasn't sure.
It's a foreign film.
Yeah.
Very classy.
I haven't seen it. I don't like reading, so...
Yeah, it's a whole thing.
It's an art film. Not my thing, but I guess it's doing pretty well.
Right, yeah, honestly, it's doing a lot for the medium.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Avengers. Great job. Keep it up.
Some up-and-comers in that. Watch out for Chris Hemsworth.
Hemsworth. Right? I'm pretty...
Yeah, I think that's how you say it.
Yeah. Him, Robert Donut. Jur. Weird name. Anyone named Jur. Alright, this is going on long enough. We're not here to talk about Avengers. We're here to talk about Fighting with My Family. Fighting with My Family, starring various talents. Like
Florence Pugh plays the main character.
Nick Frost.
Paige.
I'm gonna say it because I know that one.
Yeah, Nick Frost, and then Lena Headey.
Headey. I think we did it right.
Yep, and a gentleman named The Rock.
I don't think that he's named The Rock.
He's not?
I think that's a stage.
Okay, all right. Well, Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
That's him.
Is in it as well.
Yep. I mean, you almost wouldn't notice him shoehorned into the scenes he's in, but
that's true.
But he's there.
Very subtle cameo.
Very, very subtle. Loved it. No, but in all seriousness, this is a WWE film.
It is, and from that, I was surprised by how good it was. Not that.
What do you mean by that?
Not that I didn't expect them to make good movies. It was just a lot more subtle than I expected.
So do you like pro wrestling?
So I've been to one WWE match.
Well, that's more than
I've
me.
never watched it on TV. Which is weird because I love sports and like bitchy drama.
Ooh.
So you'd think I would be super into wrestling, and I'm just not.
Natural pairing.
But so yeah, I didn't know Paige was a real person.
Right.
Watching this.
Okay. Till you saw her at the end.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
Yeah.
Sorry.
What is your history with wrestling?
I've loved pro wrestling most of my life. I can say that. It's legal, actually. No, I don't have a gag order. I can say that I love pro wrestling. No, I've been watching it since I was middle, maybe late grade school. I was a big fan of the WWC. That's not a thing. WCW. Big fan.
I wouldn't have known.
Such a big fan that I don't remember.
That sounds like a wrestling thing.
Yeah, well, WWE. I mean, it's not far off.
Yeah.
It's like a difference of a couple of letter positions. But, so a huge fan. I had to like the WWE because WCW died. And so I moved on. Yeah. So suffice it to say, I really love pro wrestling. And I really love this film. It was very good. But it's funny because I hate sports films.
And I love them.
Right.
So we kind of came at this... I said kind of.
You did kind of say that.
Kind of did.
Kind of pretentious.
We came at this with opposite perspectives. So I love sports, don't care much about wrestling. John doesn't really care about sports, but does like wrestling.
Yes, because it's not a sport.
Yeah. So we really could have gone either way on this movie, honestly. And we both ended up liking it.
I think that's the problem with this podcast. Just shut it down. We're friends. We like this. I don't know. That's not true, though. We do disagree about some films.
Yeah.
I can't name one, but I assume that's true.
Yeah, I can't think of specific movies, but we do have different tastes. Yeah. I'd say it's a Venn diagram. There's a large overlap.
Right.
But there are things that in the outer circles. Right.
For instance, Dinda. That's not a movie. That's actually just a hobby. Dungeons and Dragons.
See? Yeah,
right.
Didn't know.
See, like all the far nerd things are solely mine. Where like I think Lauren has most of like the far, I don't know, the sport, the...
I guess, but also
because I think most of our art stuff we tend to agree on.
Yeah.
But like,
I do get more into the, I guess, mainstream type thing.
Sure.
Like, if I could break it down with one thing
So
I'm into, I really love Taylor Swift, if that gives gives an idea of our differences.
Right, and like my favorite genre of music to listen to is like dark ambient. But that doesn't mean we don't appreciate a lot of the same music.
Exactly.
Right. So, anyways, that had nothing to do with fighting with my family, but it doesn't matter. It's giving you a little bit of context into who's giving you this review. You're welcome. You're welcome for that. So, this came out February 14th, along with...
of 2019, the year of our Lord.
Oh, that's true. You could be watching this in the future! But the same time, Attila the Hun? Alita Battle Angel?
Alita Battle Angel, I believe, was the name of it.
Yeah. So a lot of people saw that instead of this. Though I have been seeing, like, just anecdotally, a lot of people seeing it now that it's out on DVD. This is a little after the fact right now. Yeah, I don't know. But yes.
Yes. So the idea behind talking about Alita Battle Angel isn't saying that
you should watch it.
You should only see wrestling or fighting with my family instead of that. It's more just, hey, there was this other thing out at the same time. Well, we don't want you to disregard it.
Well, so there's actually like a specific moment in cinema history that makes me want to do this podcast, right? There's a moment when everybody went to go see Grown Ups instead of anything else.
And one of the worst films I've ever seen.
Pretty much ever. So I'm not saying it won't happen again, but there will.
Then it could happen again.
Right, exactly. So we may tell you shouldn't have seen whatever topped the box office that week. But I'll say that's probably going to be a rare occurrence. More often than not, it's just to draw your attention to something else, like fighting with my family.
And it is kind of cool that both of these movies...
Is it kind of cool or is it fully cool?
It's fully cool.
So if you guys don't know, Lauren loves clapping and saying kind of. Whenever she does that, take a drink. It'll be good.
You're welcome, liquor industry.
Also, today we're drinking... I'm drinking a Lone Tree Brewing Company Red Ale. It's an Irish-style ale.
Yep, and I'm drinking, also from Lone Tree, it was a Mexican lager. However, it was a wonderful day outside, so we went to Taco Bell. I got a Baja Blast Freeze and decided I'm going to mix it with a Mexican lager. So
how did that work out for you?
It's actually delicious.
That's great.
I highly recommend it.
Can I try it?
Yeah.
Can I give it a shot?
This is the endings of it. It's
right,
kind of melty, but...
That is way better than I was expecting it to be. That's actually good.
See?
If you did that all like on the front, like you made the thing yourself with the beer in it. Yeah. Kind of like just making a margarita.
Yep.
Out of it.
If I had started with that, because it's about 2 hours old now, but it still tastes good.
It still tastes fine. Yeah. The mix, solid.
Yes.
Yep.
Solid mix.
So right. Now that we've gone over all that, you needed all that really to appreciate this podcast. Exactly. Everything we just said.
Everything.
Is all super important. Let's dig right into it.
Yeah.
Really drill down.
Right into
fighting with my
family. So this was based on the true story of a WWE wrestler named
a diva.
Paige. Yeah, she was a diva champion, correct?
Ooh, yes.
I assume that's important. It seemed important in the movie.
So I think the assertion they make like in the cards afterwards, and remember I said I love professional wrestling, but I don't keep up with it like I did when I was like in high school or whatever. So this was all something that I kind of learned from watching the film. Before that, there was a Divas champion, and it was kind of not a big deal. Like when Paige came onto the scene, she kind of popularized the Diva cards, those matches, and brought a little bit of legitimacy to those matches, right? Like where they even like make fun of it, like halfway through the film that the Divas stuff is all just TNA or whatever.
They do say that.
And that was a pretty common perception. If you go way back into the 90s, like there were segments like that. Like the Divas weren't wrestlers, right? Like they were like cheerleaders. WCW had the Nitro Girls, and they were literally just cheerleaders. I had a bunch of the trading cards.
Yeah, I did not know any of this. So are the Divas, is that just their women's division?
Now it is.
Okay.
But I think there was a time, and I don't know that they were always called divas, because you remember Chyna, right?
I do.
Like,
that's the only one I knew of.
Yeah, that's the one everybody knows, right? So there was one female wrestler in the WWF back when it was that. And one here or there in the other ones. But I think Paige brought in like a new wave, I guess, of like actual female wrestlers. And
right. Well,
shit like that.
And that's what makes her character stand out in the movie from the other women that she's competing against, is she's been wrestling her whole life. She's not there with a cheerleading background or whatever else they normally brought in. She had actual wrestling experience. Right.
And that's like her, and it's funny too, because like it seems like she's actually not even in as good a shape as the other girls, but the thing is she knows.
Yeah, she has the technical skills that they don't.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, this follows the beat of a sports film pretty closely, which is why I was thinking I wasn't really going to care for it, right? Where it's just like, oh, here's our underdog, and oh look, made the cut. Oh, here's this big challenge. Maybe she's gonna do it. And then does it. Anyone who follows pro wrestling, probably at least has some idea that this happened, right? Like Paige is a diva to this day. I'm gonna have to fact check that. I think that's still true.
Yeah.
So she was a big deal. So like anyone who knows anything about pro wrestling will probably know that, like, yeah, I already know she made it. So
yeah,
whatever.
It's not a surprise,
right?
But you're
no
more
spoilers or anything.
Interested in her journey there,
right? Like in the things she went through and the things her family went through. And fighting with my family is not an ill suited title, right? This stars the family. Like Paige might have the most time code, but like the whole family gets a fair amount of it.
They do, and I really liked that part of it. I really liked her parents.
Oh yeah, Nick Frost,
Lena Headey. They're hilarious.
Which I didn't know Lena could do.
I know.
She's normally really dramatic.
So underused.
Yeah,
in
for
the
sure.
World. Like, come on, guys.
Game of Thrones. Like she's been stuck with that for a long time.
Shit's over now. Put her in other things.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
No, she was.
I forgot that I could like her too. Like since Sarah Chronicles. Like that was the last time I liked her in something.
I love that show.
I mean, she's good as Cersei, but like I hate her.
Yeah,
because you're
it's
supposed
nice seeing her as a protagonist.
Right. Yeah.
And one thing I loved about them as Paige's parents are they're very inappropriate. They're kind of embarrassing her all the time.
I don't know if varies the word.
Well, they say just inappropriate things a lot, but they're also very wholesome and they're a very loving family. Yeah. So
even if they were
a
like
cute little wrestling
robbers.
family.
Yeah, because that's one of the cute things that they touch on is like the fact that originally, like the dad and the mom, well, at least the dad was like an armed robber, like that was the thing he did, and I guess they like found a second life in pro wrestling. So the whole like family angle on this thing, super wholesome, but like not in a conventional sense. So it's less exhausting.
Exactly, they're not going to church or anything, but I don't know, they deeply care about each other, and I really enjoyed seeing it. And then one thing I really loved is they're from Norwich, England.
Oh yeah,
which is very close to where we lived at one point.
We did.
And I don't know if they filmed it there, but it looked like Norwich.
Yeah, no, like no lie. I was like, I feel like I'd been to that bazaar.
Yeah, I was like, is that it, or is that just another place in England because it all looks the same?
I mean, so I will say I'd never seen that much graffiti anywhere in Norwich. Maybe they put that in. Like, I don't...
To make it more gritty.
Yeah.
But it was cool. They had the Norwich Canaries, the soccer team. Yeah. They had the flag and the jerseys everywhere.
For sure. So you knew they were there.
Really nice to see.
Or at least that was a super convincing set if they weren't there.
Yeah. It was definitely filmed in England, if not that city.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Has to be.
Yeah.
That'd be too expensive to try and replicate that.
Yeah.
So that was... Well, maybe not too expensive.
I don't know.
Don't need to. It's there.
Exactly.
Just go there. Shoot that.
Just go there, man.
Yeah, for sure. Oh yeah, because like we were talking about how we could have probably gone to WAW.
Yes,
a WAW match.
I think this movie took place in 2012.
Yeah,
which is exactly when we were there.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
So man, wasted opportunities.
Seriously, but to be fair, like Paige wouldn't have been a big deal until like we were midstream.
Yeah.
And I really wasn't keeping up with it while I was overseas.
Oh yeah.
So like I didn't even know they were there. So fact of history. they were not well publicized in their local area because I didn't even know they were there.
Yeah, and I was actively looking for sporting events and
Right.
did not notice this.
No,
so.
exactly. So, but anyhow, so the family angle is super effective. I really enjoyed it, and they never do that thing that a lot of, I guess, lower end films do, where it's like kind of written to one character.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so like it's a very ensemble production. I really enjoyed that aspect of it because, no offense to Paige, even the character that was written isn't like super interesting. Yeah, that's the word I have to say. But I think they're trying to convey she's a very, just regular girl.
Yeah, and I think they're also trying to show you that was her whole life, was the wrestling thing.
Yeah.
Because if you're trying to figure out what she's into outside of that, like, you don't.
Hard, yeah.
You can't tell.
Yeah.
Because when they even ask her in her audition, like, why do you want to wrestle for WWE?
Yeah,
and she's
that's
just like,
what we do.
Well, my family wrestles. She's like,
Yeah.
no, but why do you want to?
Right,
She's like, well, I don't know.
That's yeah.
That's what we do.
We do that. I mean, like, yeah, I think we get to hear that she's into was it Charmed?
She was, yeah. That's why she chose the name Paige.
Right, yeah.
And it fits her persona very well.
Oh, yeah.
She is the dark hair and makeup is cute.
The goth aesthetic.
Yeah.
She's definitely rocking it. So yeah, I mean, ultimately, that's to the benefit of the film, though, right? Like, because it keeps all the characters engaged. Because, like, if she was like a super vivacious and diverse and whatever, like, it'd be very easy to lose the rest of the family to such a big character. But like, it works out in this case because, like, it's like she has a bunch of different foils, that are really like bringing out aspects of her, because her conversations with her brother are very different than her conversations with her parents versus the other wrestling kids. So it's really serving the character, but without making all the other characters seem superfluous.
Yeah.
So super dope.
Yeah,
in terms of casting and stuff.
I really enjoyed it. Did you have a favorite scene or aspect?
Pretty much anything to do with Vince Vaughn.
Really?
Yeah.
He honestly seemed his character seemed wedged into me, and I don't know if it's just because he was the most recognizable actor besides The Rock.
Right.
Who's not acting. It just seems like everyone's playing their character, and you're like, oh, and then Vince Vaughn is there in a polo.
As Vince Vaughn. No,
playing Vince Vaughn.
So, like, for sure, but the thing that I like about it is, like, specifically, like, so in the film, Paige goes through, like, an identity crisis, and then she tries to, like, fit in with the girls, and she does the blonde hair and the spray tan or whatever. And she's, like, doing worse because she's not embracing herself, whatever. Kind of cheesy, but, like, it works. Like, but believe me, it totally works. So, like, Vince Vaughn's like, you fucking suck and get the fuck out of here. But he has this heartbreaking story where she's like, well, if you brought real wrestlers on this tour, like, we could show you, like, real wrestling, right? Because she's doing a lot of her initial performances with a bunch of people who don't know how to wrestle. And Vince Vaughn pretty much explains to her, like, your brother will never be anything in this industry. And I know because, like, big reveal, Vince Vaughn is, like, a failed pro wrestler. But they know he's got an eye for talent. Like, The Rock, I guess, gets him this job because this is all really just like a big hand job for Dwayne. Like, let's be real.
It was. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of who Vince is. But he has like this really good monologue talking about like what would happen to her brother if he was allowed to come in, and like I guess trying to convince us that the WWE isn't trying to put people into that place where they are literally just stepping stones for the actual stars. Like, I guess this reflects, like, because you will see this shift in how they do roster management. Like, if you pay attention to the WWE for a long amount of time, like if you go back into the 90s and before that, there are lots of people on cards who you have no idea who they are and you'll never hear from again. But these days, they generally just try and make all their characters into stars. It doesn't always work, right? Because like a lot of these people are athletes before they're wrestlers, and there's a dramatic aspect to pro wrestling.
Yeah.
And if you suck at that, like, well, it's not going to work, fam.
Yeah.
So I think that bit meant a lot to me as a pro wrestling fan. So I think that's why it was my favorite moment.
Interesting. Yeah, and I guess my ignorance towards wrestling made it not as interesting to me.
No, I could see that.
But no, that does make sense.
What about you?
So I really liked how as in a typical sports movie, she's going to overcome something, and usually that's in the form of training, where it's
training montage.
Yeah, a training montage. You know, she's learning how to be a pro wrestler. But in this case, her training was more internal. It was more about changing her mindset rather than the physical part of it.
Right.
So when she starts with the developmental league, she's the only female who has a background in wrestling. The others are like dancers and cheerleaders. And she kind of writes them off at first. Kind of insults them.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Accidentally.
Yeah.
So you're thinking they're going to be villains.
Right.
Like they're going to be the bitchy girls who don't like her because she's more of a wrestler than they are. And then she ends up being friends with them when she realizes she made the mistake by judging them.
Right. No, and I think that's an important thing to point out is like you find out that Paige is actually the villain to them.
Exactly.
For most of the film.
Yep.
And it's
It was very nuanced for
absolutely.
this movie. Like, oh wow, I'm surprised they took that angle.
Right,
that you actually end up liking the girls that you thought were going to be the bad ones.
Right, and they end up being her friends.
Yeah, and they congratulate her when she makes it. Spoilers.
Yeah. Again.
And the thing I love,
knew she was gonna make it.
The moment that actually made me cry is during her little turnaround where she decides to be nice to them. One is about to quit, and she's like, "Don't you quit?" And
she
helps her train. I was like, "Oh, Paige, like, good job, girl."
yeah. No, I mean, they're honestly for such a subtle film, and like Lauren said earlier, it is very subtle in its approach to things, like the whole family's little wrestling camp they put on for like the underprivileged kids in the area. Like that's a great little touch, right? Like. And I'm sure it's based on real things. Like, again, the WAW is like a real wrestling league in Norwich. I don't know if it still is, but in 2012 it was.
Yeah.
The way they use that as a device in the film was strong, right? Like, so one of the major beats of the film is like the brother does not get picked, right? Like when they...
For the WWE.
Yeah, he doesn't make it in. And he has to go back to his regular life where they were doing that, and they loved it up until... he had that opportunity and he lost it. And how they use that, like, no, you don't understand. Like, we were already doing awesome shit. And the cool thing was, like, how Paige now wants to stop doing it. Like, midstream, again, like, in the moment when it's like, oh, is she going to do it or not? Or whatever. Paige is like, she wants to stop doing it because, like, she misses being with her family and doing all those things that her brother now thinks himself above doing. Yeah. Because he had auditioned, and like they said, he's such a good wrestler, but you just don't have it, whatever it is. You know what I mean? Like he's super embittered about that. But that was like an amazing part of the film for me too. Again, just because.
Yeah, I really like that also because it shows that yes, Paige may be more successful on paper because she made it professionally. Her brother's doing maybe more important things in his life as a non-famous wrestler. Yeah. Because he's training these kids. He's training... I guess this was real. He was training a blind kid to wrestle. Yeah.
It's like became a pro.
Yeah, that's probably more important than being an actual pro.
Right, exactly. Because, like, and the whole movie is really trying to plug pro wrestling. Yep. Because it is a lot of fun to watch. Like, if you can... get past the whole like, oh, it's staged and whatever. When you watch like a really good arc, like they've got like this really good feud going on, and like you're buying all the heat from the heel, like the heel's doing a good job of delivering on like being a good villain, because this is all just general writing stuff, right? Yeah. Some of the storylines are lame, and some are good, and like when you're watching a good arc in pro wrestling, like it's awesome. And so I don't know, because of how pro wrestling is shot, like it's just so real, you know what I mean? Like in terms of a drama, like when you compare it to something like a soap opera where it's glitzy lights and whatever, you strip all that away, and like here are these people who like aren't necessarily ugly people, but like they're much more, I don't know, raw. Raw is the word I'm going to use.
WWE, raw.
Raw. Yeah, that's
why it's called that.
That is why, because they're raw. Because like you do get the wrestlers that are out of shape, unkempt, whatever. Some of them do definitely go for that vibe. you know, it's kind of like back to comparing like something like Friends to Roseanne.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Friends, very pretty people. Everything tends to work out, blah blah blah. Versus Roseanne, you know, like the lights are not super. It's not very glitzy. They're not all lit up. They're not all done up in makeup. They're not all. You know what I mean? Like, and so like I think like I kind of make that analogy to say like that's the cool thing about pro wrestling, and they definitely bring all those elements to the surface with this film in very subtle ways that I think you can immediately appreciate even if you're not into it.
I don't know much about wrestling, but I am more interested in it now, and I like learning about these things.
Yeah.
Because I think it's just good storytelling when it comes down to it, and everyone gets distracted by the like, oh, it's fake, it's staged. It's like, well, it doesn't matter. It's entertainment.
Right.
Like, if you watch a scripted drama, that is staged.
Right.
That it's still entertaining.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it doesn't have to be, you know, just a regular sport. It can be, you know, a combination of sports and entertainment.
Right. Like, and no one gets mad like when the Patriots win every year. You
Exactly.
know?
That's
staged.
Fucking Tom Brady.
Anyway, so let's talk about something else.
All right. So one thing about this movie I was not very into is the way that The Rock is kind of billed as the star. He's the biggest person on the cover, and you're kind of led to believe that it's his movie.
Spoilers.
He has a couple cameos as himself, and he's good in it.
Yeah,
but
well, for sure.
It's a little feels wedged into it.
Yeah.
However, after watching the movie, I was reading about it, and I guess it was The Rock's idea to make this movie.
Mm-hmm.
He saw a documentary based on the family that's also called Fighting with My Family. And he told Paige the same time he told her that she was going to be on that match that he wanted to make a movie about her life.
Oh, that's crazy.
So this was his thing he initiated. So I guess I can forgive him for just placing himself onto the cover and making it his thing.
Yeah.
But it does feel a little weird.
Yeah, I mean, that is a weird thing for a producer to do. I've never seen a producer on a...
Yeah, but then again, I don't know that it would have gotten as much attention as it did if he hadn't.
And that's important.
He probably realizes that. So it might have been a necessary evil.
Right.
But it is like, oh, that's The Rock being The Rock.
Yep.
Just stealing thunder.
Yep. A lightning catcher, if you will.
Yep.
No, I mean, I think that's a fair thing to point out, because I would say I feel the same way, because like the way he kept showing back up, I'm like, there were many other pro wrestlers that
also trying to make it.
And like they have a few other names in the film, right? Like Big Show makes an appearance, and that's the one that I know the name of.
Was he was Captain Insano, right? In the
yes,
That's how I recognized him. I was like, is that Captain Insano?
yeah, good
that's
name
how
drop.
much I know about wrestling.
For sure. I mean, Captain Insano was dope.
Yeah.
Previously billed as the Giant.
Interesting.
In WCW, the far better wrestling league. So it just was interesting to me that there were very few other superstars in this film. You know, like other than The Rock, and it seemed like, I guess now knowing that he was literally there at those points in the history of this documentary, like, oh, okay, well that's fair. But I was just thinking, like, couldn't they have gotten, like, I don't know, anyone else? Like, so they mentioned John Cena, like
that's true.
When they're
they
at
do
the
show clips of
WrestleMania,
him.
they show clips of John Cena, but John Cena was like, he's still like a big face for WWE, but at that time he was like super hot, like super over with everyone, and he was like a big deal in the WWE. So it was really weird to me that he didn't have one speaking role, and he's another one of the WWE superstars that made it as an actor after the fact.
Yeah. So
it was weird that he didn't have a single line in the movie.
That's true. And then, I mean, I assume there are many female wrestlers they could have used.
Divas. And that was one of the things they were trying to highlight, is at the time they were all kind of indistinguishable.
Okay.
Like, that was a turning point for the diva roster, where like they started to do a better job of building kayfabe and story and stuff into the divas, where before, like I said, they were by and large the one that looks like that. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's really what it was. Like, what flavor do you like? You know, we've got like this rainbow of girls. You know, like which one's your favorite?
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, but again, I think it is important to remember that is what Paige served to change. That rhymed.
Should really turn the page.
Oh Jesus! Yeah, that's it's a lot, Lauren. I can't.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Do you have a kid? I know why I do.
I'm not a dad, but
okay,
I couldn't not do that.
I can't. Okay. Dope.
So when she first premieres in the WWE, they're acting as if no one has ever seen a girl with black hair before, and she's so weird. Was she really that out of place, or that?
Yeah, because
she just looked like a wrestler to me. Like, yep, that's what they look like
for sure. Well, because even Chyna was almost that. I mean, she was huge.
Yeah,
she's a brick shit house of a woman, but long black hair, black shirt, black bottoms, right? Like that's what Chyna wore. Paige was not, and I'm not trying to get like when you compare her side by side with the other divas, like they're all very curvy women, you know, like a lot of them have these spray tans, they're blonde, they're like or you know, like they're exotic. I'm not going to go into what I mean by that, but you know what I mean, like so like when she's just like this very pale girl, you know, with like, and she was in shape, right, but like she's in fighting shape, not, you know.
Yeah, she's not a brick shit house.
Right. Yeah. But she's also not like eye candy.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like she looked like she was just someone on the roster. And then so like like if you compared her, it was as stark a difference as you saw.
Okay.
Like, in the film.
I was surprised. I was like, yeah, she looks like a girl who would wrestle.
Right.
But I guess it was weird at that time.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Again, I wasn't following wrestling super, super close at the time, but it was more of what I was used to at that point with the females on the roster, which was like them being promoted from cheerleaders, but like their matches all still suck. There's not a lot of different, you know, like, cause like when you have weight divisions in fighting or combat sports, right? Like it matters, right? Like, so you're super heavyweights, your heavyweights, your
it has to be fair.
Right. Like, you don't have that in the diva roster, right? Because like, they're all so similar in body type. They're all the same fucking weight. You know what I mean? Like
you're girl size,
right?
So you fight other girls too,
right?
Because you're all the same.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. So like, there was no real variety to it, and again, they were just getting these girls to a place where they were like good at wrestling, like so they could do interesting fights. Because again, you know, that's the hard thing about keeping it visually interesting. You know, building tension in the fight, and all, like they've got to have the endurance to throw themselves around, like have the pain tolerance to like, because none of that shit feels good.
Yeah.
Right.
Despite being staged, they're still doing it.
Right. Yeah.
It still sucks.
And they've got to be in very good control of their bodies so they can. It's really all about sticking the landing, right? Because you've got to land in a way that you're not gonna and be thrown in a way. As much. Right. Exactly. It's like being a glorified stunt person. I wonder if Zoe should be a pro wrestler.
Ooh, interesting. I like
so, yeah. Last week, well, not last week now, 2 weeks ago, a month ago.
Whenever we did it.
Remember.
Yeah.
We were talking about Zoe Deschanel.
Zoe Bell.
Zoe Bell. And how she's a stunt person and like one of the best in the world. And is like, well, maybe she'd be a pro wrestler.
You should. Isn't Ronda Rousey switching to pro wrestling? Did that happen?
Yeah, so I heard about that. I have no idea if that's happening.
Yeah, I haven't followed.
I mean, who knows? I know she, I think she did mocap for Mortal Kombat 11 to be Sonya Blade.
Interesting.
Oh, but I you know, that's just something I heard. This is not a fact check. If you're going to let me know I'm wrong in the comments, I'm not going to be mad. I'll just delete it. Very ambivalent while I'm deleting your comment.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, anyways, yeah, those were a lot of the feelings I had about this one. So, at the end of the day, I think if you didn't go see it, you should make efforts to see it.
I think so.
Definitely see Alita, but Attila.
You can see both. You're allowed to see both.
Yeah, we're not. Yeah, I won't put you in timeout if you.
Yeah, Fighting with My Family. Recommend. It's actually I think it might have been PG-13. There's some language, but
A little bit.
I would be okay with showing kids that.
Oh, hell yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a wholesome little movie.
Yeah. Yep. And none of the language is like vulgar. Like it's bad words, but not like employed
Yeah.
in a vulgar way.
Yeah. They're never really
Being gross,
insulting or anything.
raunchy,
Yeah.
or anything like that. So yeah, I mean, fun for the whole family. It's about pro wrestling, so I'm about it. Yeah, you should have watched it. But
You should have watched it.
should have watched it. Yeah, that's our rating system.
Rating system is should or shouldn't,
Yeah,
and it was a should.
it's a should.
It's a hard one.
Yep, not a 0. It's a very binary system.
Yep.
All right. Well, so that is the entirety of our first.
This was our first. Thank you for listening.
Yeah, that's the dopest of you to have sat through that. I hope you liked it. And so the way this is going to work, we may as well talk about this right now.
Yeah.
The way it's going to work moving forward, right, is we're going to try and keep up with big films and then see what else came out around the same time. And let you know if there was anything that like fell through the cracks, because it's just being eclipsed by your avant-gardes and games.
There's a lot of content to absorb, so we just want to point out things that maybe get missed.
Yeah.
And give those some love.
And we also don't mind doing that retrospectively. Right?
Exactly.
Like,
there are a lot of movies throughout history that we think have been neglected, so we might point those out once in a while in some retrospective episodes.
Mm-hmm. And if there's anything you want us to review,
yes, go ahead and leave a comment.
Ooh, but make sure you like and subscribe and hit the bell and all those things.
Like and subscribe.
Yeah, smash that like button. I've always wanted to say that.
Smash that motherfucking like button.
So this entire time, I was actually John. Like, I didn't cease to be John at any point.
I'm still Lauren.
It was the dopest.
Lauren from day one.
Damn. All right, y'all be good. Catch you next time on Dragon Ball Z.